all your favorite wrestling shows rolled into one. Welcome to the We Book It podcast. Let's start the show.
Welcome in, everybody, to another episode of Who's Next in NXT. I am your host and future Book It World Champion, Virgil. What's going on, everybody? Happy WrestleMania week to all those who observe. Of course, if you're here, I'm pretty sure you probably do observe WrestleMania week. NXT is doing NXT Revenge during WrestleMania week just as a way to get people to watch NXT Revenge. And listen, it did not disappoint at all. It is WrestleMania week, and WWE NXT is delivering 2 weeks of action with NXT Revenge, beginning with the April 14th show at the Performance Center. Tony D'Angelo puts his newly won NXT Championship on the line against Ethan Page, while Lola Vice defended the NXT Championship against Jacy Jayne. Jada Parker and Kaylani Jordan collided once again, while Joe Hendry responded to his NXT Championship loss with a special concert. So the question was, the biggest question, as you saw on our title page, was this the end for Joe Hendry in NXT? All right, so first and foremost, first match, Kaylani Jordan and Jada Parker. These two have on-site smoke, is what I like to call it. As soon as they see each other, it's on site. It don't matter where they are, who they're with, who they're around. It could be Jesus. It could be their mamas around them. It don't matter. These two are going to fight. It just has to be. So I like it. Jordan and Jada quickly locked up as the crowd sang for Miss Parker. Miss Parker. Miss Parker. It was an even fight until Jordan created an opening with a vicious focus on the left thigh. Then after that, Jada hobbled, struggled to hit her best offense without pain, but Miss Parker hit the teardrop but could not capitalize before Jordan rolled outside the ring. These two never reached their peak pace in this match. It was nice to see both of them come out of this looking good rather than someone left looking embarrassed. Jada and Jordan are two women that should be considered for the call-up post WrestleMania 42. We shall see. Neither are complete packages, but it does not feel like they have much more to learn from NXT. Might as well give them that call up, see what they got in the main roster. Kaylani Jordan did defeat Jada Parker via pinfall. With just a couple of notes, backstage, Ricky Saints interrupted Shiloh Hill's construction project for Tatum Paxley to mock him, and then Ethan Page arrived to distract Saints and convince him that they needed to work together to win the NXT Championship. I love this bad buddy cop movie that these two got going on as far as a tag team, where they are consistently both going for the same thing, but just cannot get it together. So Joe Hendry promised that he was not done chasing the NXT Championship, focusing his song on Tony D'Angelo and that title. Next thing you know, Keanu Carver arrived before Hendry could get to the chorus. When Carver did not back down, Hendry bashed his guitar on Carver's back. The big man was barely affected by the shot, bloodying the former NXT champion and sending him and security through the barricade at ringside. Hendry delivered a solid verse before Carver arrived, seemingly teasing he's not done in NXT just yet. However, the post-concert destruction indicates a very different story is on the horizon. NXT has put so much behind Carver early, who is as talented a big man as WWE has. This was his biggest spotlight yet, destroying Joe Hendry in his concert. If he defeats Hendry in a follow-up match, that would instantly make him a contender for the NXT Championship. This could be an easy answer for transitioning Joe Hendry to the main roster. He puts over Carver to make NXT's next big monster, then transition smoothly to the SmackDown or Raw rosters without nothing being seriously lost. There was a loud screaming Hendry fan in the audience when Joe Hendry allowed. It was just one. It was weird. D'Angelo spoke in a pre-tape explaining his next goal: defeat top names to get all the way to the top of the business, starting with all ego Ethan Page. And again, the progressive spotlight focused on Sol Ruka, who explained her history with Zarya from her perspective. Next up, we get Callie Armstrong versus Skylar Ray. So Kylie Armstrong arrived with confidence and delivered strong offense from the outset of this match, nearly picking up a surprise victory after the satellite DDT. Armstrong caught her diving and rocked her with the right hand. The former Evolve Women's Champion sealed the win with the Cali connection. Uh, this was a solid, if unspectacular, debut for Armstrong, who could have been more dominant. Ray did not get her own entrance for this match, but still worked relatively even with Armstrong throughout the match. Again, they're still trying to figure out what they're doing with her. So with Armstrong, so we'll see what goes on from there. Robert Stone told Vanity Project and Blake Monroe that she would face Tatum Paxley next week for the Women's North American Championship, but with the stipulation to be determined by the champs. We'll get that later. I'm really excited for this match next week. Next up, it's all ego Ethan Page versus Tony D'Angelo for the NXT Championship. So weird to have this championship match right in the middle of the card. It's for the biggest championship in NXT. But anyways, all ego Ethan Page and Tony D'Angelo alongside Joe Hendry and Ricky Saints defeated Dark State last week. But this week, D'Angelo will be on his own going up against Ethan Page. D'Angelo beat down Page early on in this contest until Saints arrived, only to get dragged away by Shiloh Hill via an extended rope. It was so weird. It's like he had him like tied up by the legs and would literally drag them from underneath the ring. The two fought to the announce table where D'Angelo sent Page onto the barricade following a spear into the table. He finished the job with the spine buster to win. This was a fantastic title match, highlighting D'Angelo's explosiveness throughout. While Page had some crafty answers to stay in the fight, he was ultimately outmatched by the champ, which is what it's supposed to be. The NXT champion is supposed to look good in this match. It may have been best to spread out the NXT Championship and NXT Women's Championship matches over the two nights because this set a tough standard for Lola Vice and Jayne to follow. But with this win and Saints and Hendry moving to new rivals, D'Angelo may have to wait a bit to see who will be the next man to contest him for that NXT Championship. Or it could be another match with Ethan Page down the line. We'll see what happens there. Next up, Miles Bourne offers Dion Lennox a North American Championship match next week. So Miles Bourne called out Dion Lennox, who arrived with Dark State. The North American champion offered a title shot to Lennox, but he warned that he might not happen if Dark State attacked him. Saquon Sugars took offense to Lennox, implying Lennox was Dark State's leader, and tried to attack Bourne, who fought him off. Lennox and Sugars had to be separated by Osiris Griffin and Cutler James afterward. This was a solid segment, primarily carried by Bourne. His confidence and focus on the mic is infectious, even though, like I said, I hate to say it, but, he does have a little bit of speech impediment a little bit because he is deaf. However, he still does great work on the mic. Internal conflict within Dark State is a good move for the group that is not working as well as they once did. You could see some guys defect off from Dark State. You never know. Bourne mentioned his favorite dessert without further explaining, implying a non-PG answer with Stephanie Vacure, probably one of the hardest flexes ever. Lennox and Sugars argued more backstage until Sugars walked out. Next up, we got the Men's Speed Championship Tournament. EK Prosper versus Dorian Van Dux. Doug started this match confident and flew around at the same pace as Prosper, but he found himself shocked by his opponent's resilience. Dux went for shooting star press and missed. Prosper responded with a moonsault for the victory. Lexis King and Birthright arrived to taunt Prosper afterward as they prepare for next week. This was about as good as a speed match can get. Both men were flying from the start. Dux especially stood out with his high flying despite his larger size. So again, we'll see what happens with that match. In the Robert Stone's office, the GM ran down Keanu Carver for his actions and announced he will fight Joe Hendry next week. So Joe Hendry versus him next week. It's going to be a good match, very physical match also. Then NXT Women's Champion Lola Vice versus Jacy Jayne in your main event. Jayne started the slow, hesitant to match strikes with or grapples with Vice until Fallon Henley and Lainey Reed distracted the NXT Women's Champion. The challenger tried to wear down the champion until Vice's striking prowess began to overwhelm Jayne. Another distraction set up by a bicycle knee smash from Jayne for the first near fall of the match. Henley saved Jayne from a triangle with a tiger feint kick and set up the rolling encore for another near fall. Then Izzy Dame watched from the stage as Callie Strong arrived afterward by tackling her through fatal influence. Gray appeared on the other side of the apron. Zarya tried to make her own statement by arriving with music, but Sol Ruka then attacked her, starting a brawl to the back, while Vice stared down three new challengers. It is genuine shame that NXT did not give Jayne and Vice more time, starting with 12 minutes left in the show and still going to picture early on in this contest. By the end, it was clear that Jayne was delivering a final refrain for her championship dreams, and this might just be the last time that she appears in NXT. She might get that call up to the main roster. But Lola Vice is your NXT Women's Champion, and she will carry that championship very, very well. So we'll see what happens, guys. As far as week 1 of NXT Revenge goes, I love it. It was great. I'm going to go A-. Again, like I said, I just think it was really, really good. So we'll go from there. But listen, I need you guys to make sure that you like, share, and subscribe so that you never miss anything that happens here on NXT. Be sure to tune in Friday. And then we did have to cancel Saturday and Sundays watch-alongs, just not enough guys to be able to do that. But we're going to do instead a megapod Monday night, the night after Monday Night Raw. The Raw after Mania, and it's going to be huge. You guys don't want to miss it. But until next time, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Make sure that you like, share, and subscribe, and keep those book pistols sharp, and we'll see you later.